All right. สวัสดีครับ A very good afternoon to our distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to be an MC for this seminar, Radical Changes to Entrepreneurial Financing in the Post-Pandemic Business Environment. My name is Prashya Bunhwan, and I'm a researcher from NECTEC NASDA. On behalf of the WBAF Thailand Country Office, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to all of you. First of all, kindly allow me to inform you about this workshop. The World Business Angels Investment Forum, or WBAF, is an affiliated partner of the G20 Global Partnership for Financial Inclusion, or GPFI. WBAF is committed to global collaboration that empowers the economic development of the world. WBAF collaborates with National Science and Technology Development Agency, or NASDA, in setting up WBAF Thailand Country Office. This office is designated to be the integrated platform for linking entrepreneurs, startups, and SMEs to smart finance opportunities supported by qualified angel investors and institutions. Today, we are so honored to have with us two keynote speakers, Mr. Baibars Altuntash, who is the current chairman of WBAF, and hi Baibars, and Kun Thanapol Gongbunnma, CEO of Janwanish Group and WBAF Thailand board member. Now, without further ado, let's commence the seminar with a very warm welcome remark from Dr. Thitapha Samithinon, Executive Vice President of NASDA and Chairman of WBAF Thailand.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of NASDA and WBAF Thailand, I would like to welcome all of you to this session on the topic of radical changes to entrepreneurial financing in the post-pandemic business environment. Today we have an honor of two distinguished speakers, Mr. Baibars Altuntash and Mr. Thanapol Gongbunnma, to share their opinion on this topic. The world of entrepreneurial startups is where the most exciting and creative action is happening in today's business world. With angel investment entering the mainstream with a sustained growth over the past year. Business angel investors are highly net worth individuals who usually provide smaller amount of finance at an early stage. They are increasingly investing alongside seed venture capital funds. Angels usually contribute much more than pure cash. They give a mentorship. They often transfer an industrial practical knowledge, and they pass on a bunch of customer to new entrepreneurs as well. Is that interesting? You'll find them from this seminar. Thailand urgently needs to increase not only the number, but also the skill of angel investors. There are many people who have passions to invest, but they still lack of knowledge. This issue is needed to be tackled at several levels, like policy, budget, operation, and communities. NASDA believes in the needs to develop angel investor in order to completely fulfill Thailand's startup ecosystem. Today, we are marking an important milestone by collaborating with the World Business Angel Investment Forum, or WBAF, in setting up WBAF Thailand Country Office to be the integrated platform for linking entrepreneurs, startups, and SMEs to smart finance opportunities supported by qualified angel investors and institutions. Moreover, WBAF will leverage their global network of angel investors and training experts to grow angel investors not only in Thailand but also in the neighboring countries. For today's session, the ongoing COVID-19 outbreak is forcing people around the world to change certain habits and behaviors, therefore creating new business opportunities in many different industries. There are many tips and techniques for investors in order to smartly finance and to select the high-growth technology businesses. We hope that this session will give you inspiration and be useful for all of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Thitapha. Next on the program, I would like to invite Mr. Baibars Altuntash. Mr. Baibars is the current chairman of the WBAF, co-chair of the Washington, D.C.-based Global Business Angels Network, or GBAN, and vice president of the Brussels-based European Trade Association for Business Angels. He has got a lengthy list of awards and experiences, and I've known him for a while. And also, he has been disseminating his knowledge to the public by authoring a book and making public appearances on TV. He'll be giving a talk in the title of Radical Changes to Entrepreneurial Financing in the Post-Pandemic Business Environment. Please welcome Mr. Baibars.
Thank you very much for inviting me to this important webinar roundtable. I'm congratulating all WBF Thailand country office staff for their efforts trying to connect the Thailand entrepreneurs with global investment markets. You know, there are different types of finances available for entrepreneurs in the 21st century. As a matter of fact, entrepreneurs, startups, and SMEs of today are very lucky because from ICO to IPO, we have so many financial tools to support them. Crowdfunding platforms, banks, VCs, wealth management institutions, private funds, co-investment funds, government grants, family offices, angel investors, stock exchange, they are all available for correct entrepreneurs. But angel investors are different than others. Angel investors do not only put money, they also put know-how, mentorship, and networking in businesses they invest. So what is going to change now after Mr. COVID travels our countries? And what are the expectations from entrepreneurs as a response to this change? I think this is something we have to start thinking very deeply because post-pandemic business environment will be different than the business environment of 2 months ago. We have to first understand that from the smallest companies to the biggest companies, we have to start thinking about a business transformation. What like a business transformation we are going to meet after this pandemic issue? It is very clear. Now we are going to live in a more digital business environment. Digitalization is something we were talking for the last 10 years. But now we have to do more than talking as a response to this digitalization process. Because now we are going to see losers and winners of the new business environment. Unfortunately, shared economy players will suffer from this change. What do I mean by shared economy? Shared economy is something that we were always inviting investors to invest in. Car sharing systems, motorbike sharing systems, Uber, for example, the hotel industry, co-working spaces, they are all different players of shared economy. I heard on Bloomberg a few weeks ago that one of the biggest car producers in the world announced they are not going to produce big cars anymore. They are going to produce small cars after this virus issue. Why? Because they believe, and their surveys show that people will not enjoy sharing their cars with different people. They will prefer using small cars with only their family members. So such kind of change are very important because this is also showing the change in the customer behavior. As a matter of fact, business environment will be shaped now with the new customer behavior. Customer behavior is very important. For example, yesterday in Turkey, where I live, the economy is opened, and the first thing I made after 2.5 days to go to a coffee shop and buy my coffee. But I waited around half an hour by keeping my social distance, and the guy was taking everybody one by one in the shop, and this is the new normal. And after spending my 30 minutes in this in the front of this coffee shop to buy only one cup of coffee, I decided not to come again. Instead, I downloaded the application and order from my mobile and get the coffee where I am. Because if you go and stop your car and take your coffee in 5 minutes, this is something different. But if you wait 30 minutes outside of the shop while it is raining, it is something different. This immediately affected my behavior as a customer to buy coffee. This is a very simple sample. So this new environment is going to push all entrepreneurs, angel investors, policy makers to focus on the behavior of new behavior of customers. I have seen, for example, a few weeks ago, I made a meeting with the president of the United Arab Emirates Business Angels Association. He said they had just accepted the membership application of 21 new members for their association. And he said all these 21 members are coming from traditional businesses. They don't know what angel investment is. One of them is the owner of a construction company. The other one is the owner of a small travel agent. The other one is the owner of an event company. The other one owns a restaurant. But they want to become angel investor and they want to become the member of UAE Business Angels Association. Why? Because they are feeling that things will change. Traditional businesses, unfortunately, will need a robust business transformation, and the ones who cannot make this digital business transformation will suffer. So they are now trying to discover new ways of entrepreneurial initiatives. So angel investment is something that they want to discover. Please note that last year in Europe, 9.6 billion euro invested in startups by angel investors. 320,000 business angels invested in startups in Europe last year. And this number is $26 billion in the United States. 340,000 angel investors. By the way, I sometimes use angel investors, sometimes say business angel. They are same things. In the United States, we are they call as angel investor. In Europe, business angel. So, as an global affiliated partner of G20, World Business Angels Investment Forum wanted to give a response to these chains, and now preparing a report which will be presented 15 days later to the presidency of G20, which is Saudi Arabia, and this year. So we are going to share our comments and all our surveys we made around the world. So this shared economy, let's put it as a loser, one of the losers, possible losers of the new environment. But who will be the winners? As you see, we are making this webinar through Zoom. Before virus issue, we were all using Zoom. I was, for example, writing and asking a question to support team of Zoom, and I was receiving the response in 1 minute. Now I am again getting the response in 1 minute, but the response is your queue number is 655. So I have to wait until evening to get a response from Zoom, because everybody started using online communication tools, also educational tools, educational technologies, also health technologies, also agro technologies, agrotech. These are now going to attract more investors, because everybody sees that the new environment will be including more online educational tools, online ordering services, online entertainment services. Yesterday, the first unicorn of Turkey was announced. And the unicorn of Turkey came from a gaming company. A gaming company, a Turkish gaming company, Peak, was sold to $1.8 billion. And these are the new players. As a matter of fact, they were already active in the industry, but now they will receive more funds, more interest from investors, and more important than the investors, more demand from the customers, because customers changing behavior will be the main driver of the new economy. Please note that OECD statistics show that 97% of the world economy is driven by SMEs, small and medium-sized enterprises. Now, startup economy will take an important piece of cake from these numbers. Startups who are going to ease the life of individuals, who will give them opportunity to keep their social distance, who will be able to isolate them from crowded places will be really the winners of the new economy. So how can angel investors take a more active role in this changing environment? Very simple. Angel investors, as I told you in the beginning of my speech, are different than the other sources of finances. They put more than money. They put their know-how, mentorship, and network. So entrepreneurs of today, as a matter of fact, need such kind of non-financial tools more than ever in order to compete with their competitors in markets. So in order to globalize a local startup, then we have to have more angel investors within the local markets. But becoming an angel investor in a local market is not enough. Angel investors from local markets are very important to have cross-border investments. If I want to invest in a startup in Bangkok, as an investor, I have to go ahead with a co-investor from local market. Otherwise, I cannot follow my investment. So who is going to find my co-investor in local markets? Are there enough number of co-investors in the local markets? And how I will be able to make a due diligence, not only for startups, but also for the co-investor I am thinking to go ahead with. So I think WBAF Thailand country office is going to play a very crucial role in connecting global investors with local investors. We have a fund, and our fund announced 13 startups of the global fundraising stage to go to due diligence 3 months ago in Istanbul in the second day of our World Congress. And now we brought our proposals to some of these startups, and we put an important item in order to proceed with our investment proposal. It was that they are going to propose also a co-investor to us. We are proposing our financial delivering our financial proposal to them with the expectation of their proposal a co-investor to us. And after making due diligence about the co-investor, then we will going to assign this co-investor as the lead investor, and he is going to complete the due diligence process on behalf of us, and we are going to invest together. I think this process that we have just started practicing at WBAF Angel Investment Fund will be something interesting for all country economies, and I think many angel groups will follow that way, and this is going to increase the number of and amount of cross-border investments. Please note that 1.2% of entrepreneurs are able to reach angel investor money. Approximately 1%. So one entrepreneur in every 100 entrepreneurs are reaching angel finance. And one entrepreneur in every 10 entrepreneurs who reached finance is able to create a success story. This means if I know these statistics, if I want to put my 100K to startups, then I will not put my 100K to one startup. I will put 10K to one startup and distribute my 100K to 10 different startups in order to manage my risk. But this startup, this entrepreneur needs 100K, not 10K. In that case, I have to find other 9 investors, like-minded angel investors, and we invest together. So 10 angel investors invest together and put 100K by putting 10K to 10 different entrepreneurs. In that case, every entrepreneur will receive 100K. This means I am creating a small portfolio, and I am going to, as an angel investor, focus on to make a successful exit of the portfolio in the next 5 to 7 years, instead of focusing only on one entrepreneur. So the issue is we should increase the number of angel investors in local markets so they can easily find other co-investors for themselves. So they should create their own angel groups to invest in startups. This is also good for startups, because in this model, startups will be able to receive 10 know-how, 10 mentorship, and 10 networking. She is receiving same amount of money, 100K, but if they receive it only from one angel investor, they will receive only one network know-how and mentorship. But in this model, they are increasing this amount through 10 angel investors. So we are organizing the world's only qualified angel investor certification program, which has also proficiency tests at the end of the course. And we, of course, adapted the course now to online educational management system, and we will start using this proficiency test online, and we uploaded all our documents, the videos, the interviews with made with important angel investors of the world, and all downloadable reading documents and exercises, practice, etc. Everything now is online. So we will now start the QBAC Plus Angel Investor course online through our country office in Bangkok. So National Science, Technology and Development Agency is really playing a key role, not only in Thailand, but in the region. Then I joined the grand opening ceremony, where the former Deputy Prime Minister of Thailand also joined. Ambassadors and educational attaches of around 15 countries of ASEAN joined the opening ceremony, and I saw that Thailand is on its way to become an innovation and knowledge hub of the region. So I think it is really very important for angel investors, potential angel investors, to invest after they exactly know what to do at the due diligence level, how they are going to prepare the term sheets, how they are going to make the negotiations with startups and entrepreneurs, how they are going to make the company valuations, and how they are going to make correct investment, and how they are going to understand which startup is a promising startup to invest. So I think this QBAC Plus will be a milestone for Thailand's early stage equity markets, and the first certified qualified angel investors of Thailand will come to market after this program, and it will also boost the local angel investment and entrepreneurship ecosystem in Thailand. As a matter of fact, it is a very on-time program because the program has also been adapted according to by including more modules about business transformation and digital transformation of startups. So I think it will also be good to understand what to do to complete a good business transformation for startup companies as an angel investor. But angel investment is a game of making successful exits and creating a good portfolio. In order to make an exit, you need a global angel investors connection. I think WBAF is playing a crucial role not only for Thailand but for all our country office for all country offices from Croatia to Tanzania to Bahrain, because these connection, our global network will be very important to make successful exits in the future. So I think I wanted to cover almost everything in 45 minutes, but I don't know if I have time or not, or you want to ask me some questions so I can answer them. But before that, I want you to be aware of the fact that traditional businesses and millennium businesses, there are now two kinds of entrepreneurs in economies. If you are coming from a traditional business and move to millennium entrepreneurship ecosystem, then education is a must, because parameters, rules, approach, mindsets of millennium economy are quite different than traditional business mindsets. Please note that Airbnb is only a 6 years or 7 years old startup, Airbnb. Its company valuation is now $32 billion. But on the other hand, let's take Hilton Hotels as a sample. Maybe 100 years old. Thousands of people are working worldwide, but it is not $32 billion. So Airbnb is recruiting only 30 people in the office with $32 billion a company valuation and only 7 years old. So I think this is what we have to understand very, we have to study very carefully. And I'm congratulating you because you are joining, since you are joining this webinar, you are keen to discover the opportunities of the millennium economy through angel investments. And if you are coming from entrepreneurial background, angel investment will be something very practical for you. But if you are coming from a professional background, if you don't have any entrepreneurial background, then I am advising you to learn what angel investment is about, learn the due diligence, company valuations, etc., and spend some time as a member of an angel investor group and as a silent member. Spend your 6 months to understand what is happening and learn by doing. So it will be a good investment for the future retirement days of professional people to become, I think, an angel investor. So I think that's fine, and we can now answer the questions if you like.
Okay, thank you very much, Bye Bars. Allow me to summarize your speech and translate that into Thai for the Thai audience. That will take about 2 minutes, okay? So สำหรับทอล์กของ Bye Bars นะครับประเด็นสำคัญก็คือตอนนี้เนี่ยมันมีนักลงทุน2ประเภทนะครับก็คือนักลงทุนแบบ traditional แบบดั้งเดิมแล้วก็แบบที่เป็น millennial คือหลังจากปี 2000 เป็นต้นมา mindset 2 อันนี้ครับมันต่างกันมากแล้วก็จะต้องทำความเข้าใจในการจะ transform business จากเดิมที่เป็นแบบ traditional มาเป็นแบบ millennial ตอนนี้นะครับเนื่องจากว่ามันมีการแพร่ระบาดของโรคโควิดก็เลยเกิด radical change มากมายอันนึงที่สังเกตได้ก็คือเป็น digitalization คือทุกอย่างกลายเป็นดิจิทัลหมดตอนนี้เนี่ยธุรกิจประเภท share economy เนี่ยมันโดนผลกระทบหนักมากกลายเป็นว่าธุรกิจอะไรก็ตามที่ต้องใช้ physical contact มีการสัมผัสกับตัวคนหรือว่าต้องไปรวมกันในที่ชุมชนมากๆเนี่ยจะได้รับผลกระทบอย่างหนักมากเนื่องจาก social distancing แล้วก็financial constriction ก็คือเป็นข้อจำกัดการบีบรัดทางด้านการเงินของแต่ละคนเนี่ยก็มีผลเหมือนกันเพราะฉะนั้นเนี่ยจะต้องวางแผนธุรกิจให้ดีtips and trick ที่เขาได้แชร์ออกมานะครับอันแรกก็คือจะต้องปรับธุรกิจเราเนี่ยเข้าหาพฤติกรรมของลูกค้าแบบใหม่ๆแล้วก็พยายามจะปรับตัวเข้าหาออนไลน์เซอร์วิสคือเป็นธุรกิจการบริการทางออนไลน์แล้วก็ด้านการบริโภคการบริโภคทางด้านออนไลน์ทั้งหลายไม่ว่าจะเป็นการบันเทิงแล้วก็พวกดิจิทัลอินฟราสตรักเจอร์ยังไปได้ดีอยู่อันนี้อาจจะต้องปรับตัวเข้าหางานนี้นะครับแล้วก็ WBAF เนี่ยจะช่วยให้สตาร์ทอัพแล้วก็ Entrepreneur เนี่ยมาเจอกันเพราะว่านั่นคือบทบาทของเขาCountry Office ของประเทศไทยเนี่ยจะช่วย connect ระหว่าง Angel Investor ซึ่งเขาบอกว่าไม่ใช่มีแค่เงินอย่างเดียวแต่ต้องมีความสามารถแล้วก็มี network เนี่ยเขาจะ connect local angels เนี่ยเข้ากับพวก global entrepreneurs ด้วยซึ่งจะช่วยเสริมโอกาสให้เรามีโอกาสได้ลงทุนร่วมกันได้แล้วก็สามารถจัดการความเสี่ยงของ entrepreneur ต่างๆได้ด้วยสำหรับโครงการ QBack Plus นะครับ QBack Plus เนี่ยเป็นโครงการที่ช่วยสอนให้นักธุรกิจเนี่ยสามารถทำ business transformation จากที่เป็น traditional ให้กลายเป็น millennial ได้โดยการลงมือปฏิบัติด้วยตัวเองแล้วก็คอร์สนี้นะครับจะช่วยจะเป็นแบบออนไลน์ทั้งหมดสามารถดาวน์โหลดวิดีโอได้แล้วก็ NASDA นะครับจะช่วยสวทชนะครับจะช่วยประสานงานระดับภูมิภาคของหลักสูตรนี้เพื่อให้ระดับทั้งภูมิภาคเนี่ยครับสามารถสร้างเป็น Angel Investor แล้วก็เป็น Innovation Hub ขึ้นมาได้ครับ Okay, so I've just finished my summary. Now it's time for question answering. We've got about 5 minutes, so please feel free to ask any question. If you want to ask any question in Thai, I'm more than happy to be your interpreter. So it's time for question. สามารถถามคำถามเป็นภาษาไทยได้นะครับเดี๋ยวผมจะแปลให้ครับ
Work with startups. Sorry.
มีคำถามจากสตาร์ทอัพไหมครับ Otherwise, I've got my own questions. Okay, so
Yes.
So in your keynote speech, you have mentioned the business transformation process from the traditional business to the millennial one. Could you give us some concrete example of that? Like, for example, if you have a hotel and you want to make it available online, how could you do that? How could you make it available online? Or
unfortunately, hotels are players of shared economy. This is what I told also in my keynote.
Yes.
So unfortunately, they won't be able to do it because we cannot stay in the hotel online.
That's true.
They are just going to try. They are just going to try to transfer their hotels to more compatible with the new rules of the new customer. For example, customer guest of the hotel will not visit the reception. They will directly get their key by themselves. They are not going to carry, staff will not carry their, porters will not carry their baggage. They will carry it by themselves. After the guest stays in the room, maybe for the next 3 days, they are not going to hire the room to another person. So they are going to make the business transformation in their own procedures. But these procedures will, for example, keeping the room unreserved for the next 3 days will increase the costs of hotels. The same is for airlines too. They are not going to give the middle chairs, and they are going to keep the distance between customers. It is also going to increase their costs. So unfortunately, shared economy players will be a little bit different, will suffer from these changes. But on the other hand, one of the questions I read, traditional business owners can, I mean, interact with startups. I mean, they can understand their language well. This is a good question.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, traditional business owners are very valuable for the startup economy because they know how to establish a business. They have know-how, they have finance, they have network, and because they are coming from traditional businesses, they enjoy making mentorship, they enjoy teaching. Because most of the traditional business owners are the medium and small sized enterprises, and founder of an SME is also the HR director who is also teaching everything to their staff. Such kind of things are very valuable for startup economy, and this is what startups need, as a matter of fact. So it will be very easy for traditional business owners to transform themselves to angel investor, and this will increase also the size of the startup economy, because more people from traditional businesses will want to discover the opportunities in startup economy as an angel investor.
Yes. All right, and now we've got some questions lining up, so we have to select some, but I think we can manage to finish all. Okay, so let me translate the second one, the second question. Now, at the moment, that won't be okay. So the financial situation for startups are quite a little bit depressing. They have about 3 or 6 months of money. How would the angel investors help in this case?
As a matter of fact, now it is time to go to second or third or fourth round of investments, because you know, after angel investors make an investment to a startup, then startups are going to round A, round B, round C, new rounds of investments, and they raise funds from new angel investors by time, because money invested by angel investor generally ends in 12 to 18 months. So it is quite natural now startups who end their capital will go to new rounds. The problem is, are they ready to receive investments from angel investors? This is an important question, because I see many startups, many entrepreneurs do not know how to raise funds from angel investors. They don't know. They don't have a good, they don't develop a good business model. They don't develop a demo. They don't know how to communicate with investors. So I think my advice to entrepreneurs if they are feeling that they should learn new things about fundraising, then this is the time that they have to learn. But I'm advising them to learn very quickly, because in this pandemic business environment, more than enough startups will knock the door of angel investors. So investment readiness is very important. My advice, very quick advice to entrepreneurs, please note that angel investors invest in jockey, not the horse. If the jockey is fine, then horse runs. So they enjoy, they prefer investing in good entrepreneurs. So please develop your own communication skills. This is very important. I see that many entrepreneurs are lacking from good communication skills. And please note that first communication comes and then business comes. Even you have the best business idea, the best business model, but if the investors cannot communicate with you in a proper way, then they don't invest. I think this is a good time to develop such kind of skills too.
Right. I think Baibars has answered your question very, very well, and in details as well.
Thank you.
We have also got some more questions, but I think we don't have enough time to do that. So let's do it afterwards, okay? So thank you very much, Baibars, for your talk.
Thank you very much.
I've enjoyed your talk so much.
Yes, yes. I have to leave now, and I'm wishing you all the best to Bangkok. And to the next speaker, I am also extending my best wishes, but I have to leave now for another meeting, and all the best.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. So we have finished the first keynote speech. I think we have learned a lot from him, and we're going to learn more from the QBack Plus program. Next on the program, I would like to invite Kun Thanapol Gongbunnma. สวัสดีครับพี่ Kun Thanapol is the CEO of Janwanish Group and WBAF Thailand board member. He's the fourth generation CEO of Janwanish Group, which was established in 1921 and is specialized in various businesses like highly reliable security printing, like banknotes, lottery, and credit cards. He's also a famous angel investor in Thailand. He'll be giving a talk in the title of Smart Investment in Smart Industry. So without further ado, please, I'm going to hand the microphone to Kun Thanapol. Thank you.
So, okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much to invite me to share my experiences about the entrepreneur and also as an angel investor. So, after the COVID crisis that will affect the more people worldwide. So, COVID accelerating the people using more digital due to the infrastructure of the 5G, IoT, cloud, and cybersecurity, and also the automation robots. The example in the medical, we can see that when the patients cannot go to the hospital, the patients can use the video conference meeting the doctors, and doctor diagnose their at home, and the medicine can send to the patients by delivery. And during the crisis, many industrial, their supply chain were disrupted by the import goods cannot come to the industrial. So there will be some import substitute that changing their raw materials or even changing order from the online platforms. So overview from the crisis, there will be some adaptation in many areas. in many areas. That will be, for example, like students using the online learning to studying at home, and also working from home. That many companies adapt their workforce to working from home, and also when the family stay at home, many also using their home cooking. Also, many has mindsets change from the social distancing, that will be more hygiene, more individuals. After the COVID crisis, many business has been closing down or even downsizing, and many people were unemployed. So the resource or the people, they must using upskill and reskill to improve their productivities. So how to turn the crisis to the opportunities? For example, that I mentioned earlier, the healthcare that has been affected in many areas and patients. And also the food industry that many has adopted their product and services. Since the people staying at home, they cannot going outside for the restaurant, so they can ordering the food, and many food company has to adapt themselves. And when the people stay at home, many online entertainment has been grown effectively. Also the e-commerce, many e-commerce company has doubled their sales during the COVID crisis, and online learning in education also, that when people need to upskill and reskill their capabilities. And many has been using contactless services in the industry also. Let's see after the lockdown, which industry has affected most. Mainly, for example, like the hotels, airline, hair salon, spa, pubs and bar, that in the highly affected. And in the moderate, like the retail industry, restaurant, public transportation. For the low effect by the lockdown, like the utilities, electricity, gas, healthcare services, and education has been less impacted by lockdown. So there are some examples in Thailand restaurant that after the COVID, they're using the change model from normal retails when the people come to the restaurant, eat at the restaurant during the COVID. When the country is in lockdown, most of the customer cannot go to the restaurant, so they change the business model to be online. So their revenues increasing rapidly by using technology, can receive more order through the online, even chatbot or online processing, and they can plan their route to deliver the product effectively. And they change the staff skill from normal as a waiter who serve at the restaurant, change to improve their product and services efficiently. So in the supply chain model, normally it will be the straight line from develop, plan, source, make, dealer support. And from the advanced information and communication technology and making an evolution in the supply chain model that can critical enabling the digital supply chain network to the futures. When it's more connected, it can be accelerating and can be predictively computing power that can have the supply chain model very effectively and very high productivities. So I will share some tips and techniques to select the high growth of the technology business. When you select the business, first of all, you see the founder, they must have high passion. This is very important since all the business must came from the people, must have passion. Secondly, they must have the vertical business knowledge. They must have in-depth of understanding that business very deep. Thirdly, they must be validate the need and proof of concept from time to time and can adapt it. Fourth, it must have some creativity by using design thinking process and have the innovation. 5, that must be using the technology. Most of the startup, if you don't have the very deep technology, sometimes the ideas could be copied easily. So for the in-depth technology also very important, and that we can link to the university to have the ideas or the deep learning or some science and technology to support that business enabler. And the fifth is very important in a very vulnerable and changing world. For the adaptability skill is very, very important. Since when you start thinking the first idea, later on, when the environment change like COVID, you must adapt to change very fast. And lastly, when you can get the traction to catch the potential, you must have the ability to scale it, especially to the international, not only the local market. You must need to scale it internationally, unless you cannot survive. If you can support only locally or only few customers, that cannot scale. I can share some example. This company is in the agricultural technology. Since in Thailand, there are more than 8 to 9 million people as a farmers. This company, they're using the technology of the satellite data. The company called Recall, using the satellite data, integrating with the weather forecast, and also the agronomic data, which is a soil, quality of soil. Integrated this pre-information and data and turned it to be a wisdom in terms of the farmers. In the past, they need to waiting for the raining. They need to understand the soil themselves. So they integrated this information and help them to increase the productivity. This can supporting some example area in Saraburi province that can increasing productivity up to 30% in the corn crops. Another example, as a hospital after the COVID crisis. For example, this robot using in a Thammasat hospital that have the robot that can have measure the temperature of the patients as a contactless, and also doing some AI and chatbot that can communicate to support the nurse and in the care provider. That is a real use. For example, this robot, they have the web camera. They can talk to the doctors remotely with a non-contact. They have can measure the temperatures. Also can place the medicine or even the glass on this robot. And that's in Thai languages. And also can adapt in the retail store also when we need to measure the visitors to the retail store also. Next, this in the case of the healthcare, during the high COVID patient in Thailand, some of the cases like a Bangkok hospital in Pattaya, the link with the partner with the Huawei and HY company to using chest X-ray and using AI to diagnose whether these patients, they got the COVID or not. Since normally doctors can see it by naked eye, but it's not as efficient as they're doing it by the AI assistant. That can help doctor a lot, up to 99.5%. That will be more precision and use less human power. That can help a lot in the healthcare, that using AI assistant. So, in summary, as an tips of as an entrepreneur or the angels, I can share the 4 important topics. For example, is that a startup solve the big pain? Why big pain? If that pain is not big enough, it cannot be scaled and cannot scale up to other countries or internationally. Secondly, I think that startup or that business must have the innovation and also technology. It's very important. If it is only just business idea, don't have the right technology supported, that startup might not growing or get traction very well. And the third, which is also very important, this is a talent, the people with growth mindset. Mindset, this word is very important, that the people must have very good communication, open mindset, and can collaboration well outside and also internally. And the fourth, that I think is very important, that when you do get the traction domestically or when you start the business, it must be doing for other country also, not only in the domestically, that to make the business grow. Lastly, I can share please expected the unexpected. Since normally when starting the business, the people always expect the business like going as a one straight line, but in the real world, when there are some impacts from environment change, you must expect the unexpected also. This is very important as everything is uncertain. So that is all my sharing as an entrepreneur and as an angel investor in Thailand. So thank you very much. Hope you have a beautiful and pleasant day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kun Thanapon. Allow me to translate your talk into Thai and summarize it for like let's say 2 minutes. Okay. สำหรับทอล์กของคุณธนพลนะครับคุณธนพลได้กล่าวถึงวิธีการที่เขาเป็น Angel Investor เองแล้วก็เขาพูดถึงวิธีการด้วยว่าแล้วถ้าเกิดว่าจะเลือกสตาร์ทอัพที่จะลงทุนเนี่ยเขาจะทำยังไงนะครับตอนนี้เนี่ยอันดับแรกเลยก็คือคุณธนพลพูดถึง tips and technique ก่อนว่าแล้วทำยังไง business จะอยู่รอดได้สำหรับสตาร์ทอัพตอนนี้เนี่ยที่เห็นกำลังเดินไปได้สวยนะครับก็จะมีออนไลน์ธุรกิจออนไลน์แล้วก็ e-service ทั้งหลายแล้วก็มี home cooking home cooking กำลังมานะครับกลุ่มธุรกิจที่จับ work from home ก็ไปได้สวยแล้วก็มีbusiness บางอย่างนะครับก็ต้อง down scale ลงมาเพราะว่าเนื่องจากว่ามันมีข้อจำกัดทางการเงินก็ต้อง down scale ลงมาบ้างส่วน healthcare กับ medical supply นะครับตอนนี้ก็ยังไปได้นะครับยังถือว่าไปใช้ได้เลยแล้วก็ตอนนี้นะครับสิ่งที่คุณธนพลพูดถึงอีกอันนึงก็คือ supply chain ตัวใหม่ตอนนี้เนี่ยมันมีโมเดล supply chain ตัวใหม่จากเดิมที่มันเป็นระบบตั้งแต่ต้นน้ำลงมาถึงปลายน้ำเนี่ยตอนนี้มันกลายเป็น digital supply chain แล้วก็ตรงนี้นะครับ business ในยุคใหม่ๆเนี่ยอาจจะต้องปรับตัวพอสมควรเพื่อให้เข้าใจว่า digital supply chain เนี่ยมันหน้าตาเป็นยังไงทีนี้นะครับคุณธนพลพูดถึงหลักการในการเลือก startup ที่เขาอยากจะลงทุนด้วยก็คืออันแรกนะครับเวลาที่มา present เขาเนี่ยต้องมี passion ก่อนถ้าไม่มี passion นี่ก็คือตีตกไปเลยตั้งแต่แรกนะครับแล้วก็ต้องมีประสบการณ์ใน business ที่ตัวเองกำลังทำอยู่ต้องมี proof of concept demo ให้เห็นว่าเนี่ยมันเป็นอย่างนี้เวลาใช้จริงแล้วจะเกิดอย่างนี้ขึ้นแล้วก็ต้องมี innovation คือต้องมีนวัตกรรมด้วยไม่ใช่แค่หยิบเทคโนโลยีมาตรงๆแต่ว่าต้องปรับตัวเทคโนโลยีเนี่ยให้มันเข้ากับ business ด้วยแล้วก็ต้อง business ตัวเทคนิคที่หยิบมาเนี่ยครับต้องเป็น disruptive technology ด้วยเช่นใช้ AI ไหมใช้ machine learning ไหมหรือว่าใช้ deep learning หรือเปล่าแล้วก็ธุรกิจที่มา present นะครับถ้าเป็น startup เนี่ยต้องสามารถปรับตัวให้เข้ากับความเปลี่ยนแปลงได้แล้วก็ต้อง scale ได้ด้วยคือการ scale ได้เนี่ยหมายความว่าต้องเข้าใจลูกค้าต้องเห็น customer insight แล้วก็ต้องรู้ด้วยว่า market needs มันคืออะไรทีนี้นะครับโดยสรุปแล้วเนี่ยคุณธนพลเนี่ยครับพูดถึง4ข้อหลักๆคือ1การจะเป็นสตาร์ทอัพได้คุณเข้าใจเพนพอยต์หรือเปล่าของธุรกิจตรงนี้ถ้าคุณเข้าใจเพนพอยต์โอเคคุณไปรอดละอันที่2คือ innovation คุณมี innovative technology อยู่ในมือหรือเปล่าถ้าเกิดว่าคุณไม่มี innovation เนี่ยบางทีมันอาจจะสู้กับคนอื่นได้ยากเพราะคนอื่นก็จะมีแบบเดียวกันหรือพัฒนามาเทียบเท่าเราได้ในเวลาไม่นานแล้วก็ต้องมี talent ต้องมีศักยภาพพอสมควรแล้วก็ต้องมี growth mindset ด้วยซึ่งตรงนี้เดี๋ยวอาจจะมีในคำถามนะครับว่า growth mindset หน้าตาเป็นยังไงแล้วก็อันสุดท้ายนะครับคือมี scalability หมายความว่าธุรกิจของคุณไม่ใช่จบลงแค่ในประเทศหรือแค่จบลงแค่ niche market หย่อมเดียวแต่ต้องสามารถขยายไประดับนานาชาติได้ด้วย so this is all the summary of Thanapon's talk and for this time I think it's time for question answering and we've got 5 minutes please feel free to ask any questions in the comments box and also if Kun Thanapon has spot any interesting question, just feel free to answer that right away. Otherwise, I've got my own question as well. So in the meantime, can I pick some questions for you, Kun Thanapon? Yeah. Can I pick some questions from the question and answer chat box? So the first one being, for small startups, when we are pitching the idea to investors in public places, is it high risk that others who have money and facilities to steal that idea? Do startups need to be aware of that? And how are we going to secure our idea?
I think idea is the cheapest. I mean, the ideas you can get it from internet. You can copy it any from anywhere. I think the summary I share, you must concern that is that your ideas can solve big pain. And secondly, which is very important, you have the innovation or you have the technologies that other people cannot copy it easily. This is very important. It's like a barrier to entry that we protected. Even someone can steal your ideas, they cannot do also, since they don't have that innovation. That is my thought. Yeah.
Wow, this is so insightful. Thank you very much for your answer. That has answered my question as well. So, oh my God. Okay, so move on to the next question. Okay, so this one is from the same person. So I'm gonna read it out. If there are many similar startups providing similar services, what are your suggestions for completing in the market? Or what are you suggesting for success in the market?
I think there are many startups doing the same things, like for the car hailing, like Uber or TT in China. There are so many, like 3,000 companies doing the same business. So I think the company when I selected, I must see the talent. The founder can scale up their team with the right talent. I think it's very important since all the growth came from people, how they can manage people and how they can collaboration with the business, with the government, with the regulators, how to make it grow. That's my idea. Since there are so many startups with the same ideas, why only some company that can grow it and to be number one? That's I think very very important. So the people and also the collaboration is very, very important, and connecting to the right business partners also.
Yes, I concur with you in every aspect that you have mentioned. I really concur. I do agree with that. So move on to the next question. Do you have any this is from the chat box, okay, from Pat. Do you have any suggestions for traditional business without any deep technology? Who can we rely on, or how can we survive in the digital era for traditional business?
First of all, I think the CEO or the owners must have the change mindset.
Right.
You must starting from your own. You cannot rely on the other people. If yourself would like to change, must starting from inside from yours. And secondly, as a CEO or the founders, you must push all resources. I mean, time and also money and everything to make it change. This is very important. All come to mindset. It doesn't mean that you need to go everywhere to going out to find something. It's starting from yourself. This is very important. And secondly, when you need to transform or you need to change, then you are going to see the other environments, for example, like the university, like the funding, like the corporate, or like the partners that can help you to transform or grow into to turn you to be next step.
Wow, another insightful answer. Thank you very much. So allow me to ask you two more questions from the Q&A box. Okay, so the first one being, what are additional concerns that the angel investors should be aware of when investing in startups, especially in the early stage after COVID-19?
I think select the right one, the right person. There's many angels, so many founders that bring the business or bring their idea to objectives. I mean, since there are some angel to give the money to the business, and this is not their own money. If they have wrong mindset, using other people's money, when the money is gone or finished, it cannot grow business. So I focus on the people. People is very important. Have with the passion and also will not fail easily. If they can fail, they can wake up and then they can do it again and again, and adapt to change. That's also very important in my ideas. Yeah.
I do agree with that. Yes, choose the right person first.
Yeah.
And we can move on. Yes. Okay. This one is going to be a little bit specific to a particular business domain. Are there any organizations that people who have startup idea can consult with these? His startup idea is about telemedicine. What organizations that I can easily consult with?
Oh, you mean focus on telemedicine?
Yes.
He asked about organization to consult, or?
Yes.
Oh, I think if the telemedicine, there are so many solutions out there in the market. So you must go to see the customers or hospital or even the care providers that which type of the telemedicine is most fitted with the business pain. The business pain will be replied that which of the telemedicine is fit with the solutions. The business is the main.
Right.
Hospital.
Yes. Yeah. And can I add to your comments? So not only the hospitals and care providers, you can also consult with NASDA, because at NASDA we have nanotechnology center and also biotechnology center. They may help you in doing research, and also they may give you some research ideas about that.
Yes.
And that will help you a lot, not only the business. Okay. I think we can move on to the last question for now. Okay, so this question is from the chat box. This is what he said. We are in environmental business services to government agencies. Mostly, will angel investors consider industrial sector first or any interesting industry first?
I think if they are in the environmental, they are in the right business. Due to the UN sustainable development goal, I think now people are more concerned about the environment. I think it's the trends of the business and also as an environment. So, yeah.
Right.
I think as a sustainable, not only now the business, not only focusing on the maximizing profit, it's also care for the social environment. I think it's also very important for the long-term sustainable, not only as a business profit. I think that's really the great ideas.
Right. And I'm sorry, I've got to ask you an additional final questions. This is going to be a little bit personal, but this is up to your personal choice. So in the question, which is in Thai, so he said, which kind of fund, which kind of investment do you prefer between the stock exchange or convertible, or would you invest in something else for the and for an angel investor yourself? How much would you invest if the startup company doesn't have any prototype or any proof of concept demo?
I myself will be use the distribution in many type of investment.
I see.
Distribution as a portfolio. For example, some part I'm looking for the asset in angel investor. If I thought that is a great idea, is have innovation, I put some small money in that, and some of my portfolio I will put it on the business that have the traction already as a B2B or engagement and got the high traction already, that have less risks to fail. It means have the growth potential already. I prefer on the already growth and have some more chance to go to the next level. Since if you put mainly in the early stage, so you must accept a very high failure rate. That is on the preferable if you are investor. It depends on the risk appetite.
Wow, that is so insightful. And I think this is about how we run the business as the angel investors.
Yes.
And that is so insightful for me. Thank you very much for sharing your insights about business and yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ang, and all audience also.
And I really enjoy your talk as well. So this is an eye-opening talk for me.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Okay, I think it's about time to finish this seminar. So please give big hands once again to our keynote speaker. Thank you very much. Yes. And on behalf of WBAF Thailand Country Office, I would like to thank all of you once again for coming today. I wish you stay safe and stay healthy during the pandemic. Thank you very much. And I'll see you again in physical contact. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.